Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. VeganMommyDee here. So today's video is going to be an update on my garden. A lot of people are DMing me and also writing in the comments that they would like to see an update on my garden. So I'm going to be doing that today. I'm going to be showing you guys all of my gardens. I do have one larger garden that's in the ground, and then I have a lot of planters as well that's full of veggies and doing really well. So just so you know, I'm not a professional gardener by any means. I just try my best and I've been successful, which is fantastic. And you know, my dad gardens as well, so I've learned from him and my grandpa. So over the years, I have learned a lot, but I still have a whole lot to learn. But I am doing pretty good, I think, so far, and I'm able to grow some food, and that is a win for me. That makes me super happy that I can actually do that. So the issue that I have is the climate where I am in Canada. It doesn't allow me to grow things for very long, unfortunately. So I do enjoy it for the time being. I know it's a very short period of time, but you know what? I'm saving money during that time and I'm enjoying it. It is a stress relief and I just love to be in the garden. So we're growing things like kale, we've got lettuce, we have herbs, so we have oregano, we have basil going. We've got tomatoes, different varieties of tomatoes as well. And what else do we have? We have collards. We have collards as well growing in the garden, which are doing really well. And we have saffron, which I'll show you guys. The saffron actually came from our garden in Portugal, and now my dad is actually growing it here. So it's been really interesting to see the whole process of growing the saffron and then harvesting it, and then we use it all year because we dry it out. So that's another thing that we're growing at the moment. Okay, so let's get on to the garden video. Okay guys, so we are going out into the garden and I'm going to show you guys all of the amazing veggies that we are growing. Super exciting. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be an update on my veggie garden and where it was to where it is right now. And I did plant everything in May, so it was really the end of May. Probably the last weekend of May is when we started planting everything. So this is what it looks like currently. So this is what the kale looked like before when I first planted it at the very end of May, last weekend of May, I believe. And this is what it currently looks like now. This is just a curly kale, just a regular kale that I planted. It is getting a little yellow because we had a lot of rain lately, so it's kind of getting bombarded with rain. But it will perk back up, and I'm just showing you guys the soil. I just got a Costco mixed soil that was just for any veggies. I didn't buy anything that was special, just the Costco brand because it was really big bags. And I filled up my containers, and then as you saw earlier, I just planted them in there and just waited. So this kale is organic, and so are the bell peppers that we planted that I'll show you guys in a minute. So I've been harvesting this kale constantly. It grew really quickly. I was really lucky. So I was harvesting kale way before anybody that I knew. So I was super lucky. And this is just the basil. It has grown quite a bit, but I don't know, for some reason this year my basil hasn't done the best. And here are the green peppers that we have. So I already picked one and it was absolutely delicious. These are organic, like I said earlier. And then some of them I think we're struggling to grow just because I had to get rid of the bigger ones. That way they have more energy so that they can grow larger. So I will enjoy those soon, hopefully. And again, as you see, like some of the leaves are yellow. It's just a lot of water that we've gotten in a short period of time. So I haven't had to water these plants at all just because of all the heavy rainfall that we've had in the last little while, but they will perk up. So this is my kale in another container, and that was the before and after, and it has grown a lot. And then I just used, because I had extra plants and I didn't know what to do with them, and so I just used the small containers that I had and made do with what I had available. So yeah, they did pretty well, and as you can see, like they're growing wonderful. I've been harvesting from them as well, and they're growing into like little trees. They just keep growing taller and taller. So when I harvest from my kale plants, I always take the bottom leaves first and I use those, and it will continue to grow. So I live in Canada, where Toronto is, and basically I will have kale until it gets really cold already and the kale is still going. So just a tip for you, you can keep kale for a long time, and even in the climate like I have, I can keep it for a while, and I just keep harvesting from the bottom and it just keeps growing. So here's the saffron that we have growing, and we got the seeds from Portugal, like I had mentioned earlier, from our garden there at the house. So now we're growing the saffron here, and it's growing really, really well. We actually had to separate it and put it, because last year was the first year we did it, and we did it in one big pot and it got overwhelming. So now we have it in the ground, and we have separated all of the plants so that they have more room to grow. And then we just dry it out and put it in the coffee grinder and use it all year. So our tomatoes we're already harvesting, and we have a couple different varieties, and they're growing really well so far, so I'm really happy. And yeah, we do have like some heirloom tomatoes. As you can see, they're darker, like a purple color, and then we have the traditional ones as well, and they're all growing really well. We also have romaine lettuce that we squished in the front of the garden just because we ran out of room, but it's growing perfectly. And I just harvest these leaves from the bottom up if I'm not going to use the whole lettuce. So we ended up getting one other variety of kale. I had curly kale in the planters and curly kale here, and then all of a sudden we started getting kale that looked a bit different, which is the dinosaur kale. In the back you'll see it looks different, and I usually plant that, but they didn't have any available. It was all sold out. It's always an issue. Kale, if you don't get it really early in May, you will not be able to find it after here where I live. So anyway, we do have some dinosaur kale, so I was really happy about that, because by accident, I guess they gave me the last one. So beside the kale, we have the collards, which I'll show you in a second. They're growing really well, and I basically use them in the same way that I use kale. So it goes into soup, I use it as wraps. It goes into smoothies, and it's so nutritious. I believe it's the same family of greens as well. And with Portuguese cuisine, we grew up on collards, so we always plant some of those. Yeah, and the leaves are pretty big. I like to use them as wraps, and I just put veggies inside and just dip it in some soy sauce, and that's it. You know, just a very simple lunch, and I can just go outside and grab my collard leaves and make my meal. So I feel really fortunate that we have all these veggies, and you know, like we don't have a ton of space, so we do use a lot of planters, and we have them kind of spaced out all over the place, and it's fine. It works. Use whatever you have available, and you can grow so many things inside containers. So this is a tea from Portugal as well that we brought back, and now we're growing it and drying it, and of course mint is growing there as well, and I guess the heat just brutalized it. That's why it's looking so droopy. And there's more kale in this random pot. We have some herbs growing as well, oregano. We've got a lot of oregano going, and again, we can dry that out and use it all year. Yeah, and because again we ran out of room, we actually planted, you know, like some baby kale is in this other container, and it's working perfectly fine. And then more kale in another pot. Use whatever you have. Honestly, things will grow. It'll be fine. This is all the basil. We have it in different containers as well, and then just green onion growing. So in this section we have a lot of basil, and we've got oregano going, and then I also have some parsley. The basil is doing really well in these containers. It's just basically thriving. And then we do have parsley, but it wasn't doing well up until recently. Recently it started to grow really well, and so I'm super happy because I use a lot of parsley, and here it is. Like, it was not growing well at all. It was kind of depressing, but now it is all of a sudden decided to start growing, and so now we can actually start harvesting some of that. So this is basically what we're growing this year. Usually I have zucchinis and squash growing as well, but this year I didn't get a chance to get any started, so that's okay. You know, I'm just gonna use what I have and be thankful that I can grow these amazing veggies. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, that way you don't miss any upcoming videos. I appreciate all of my subscribers and all the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. Thanks again for being here.